Well, I have joining me Nigeria researcher at Human Rights Watch, Anietie Ewang, to share her perspective on this. Anietie, thank you for joining us. Now, some would say that this is quite a weighty allegation, but let's begin from this point of view. How did the Human Rights Watch arrive at this allegation that has been made? What are the indices for which it is making this statement?
Thank you very much. So the methodology for our work is really field-based research. So for this report, we went into Maiduguri. We spoke with workers at many of the international aid agencies operating to provide food, shelter, healthcare, and other relief materials to people who've been affected by the insurgency. We spoke to the heads of these organizations. We spoke to their field workers who go into deep field locations. We also spoke with senior military officials to basically convey some of the concerns and hear feedback.
So what was the response you got from the senior military officials?
Well, it's certainly that some of these restrictions are in place to ensure the safety of the aid workers themselves, and also to ensure that the national security of the country is not in any way at risk. But I think it's important for us to underscore that aid agencies that provide life-saving assistance to people who are caught up in a humanitarian crisis in the scale that we have in the Northeast must act independently. It is an international human rights law and an international humanitarian law principle as well that must be respected, because it is in fact their independence that actually underscores their safety. So I think that the Nigerian military is looking at it from the wrong perspective. Aid agencies must have access to every area of operation that they have analyzed is in need of their services. And they must also have access to areas where the military is in control of, or even the armed opposition groups are in control of.
So what are the implications of this if they are not having access? Because we know there is a humanitarian crisis, so to speak, in the Northeast.
The sad reality is that it is people that suffer. The millions of people caught up in the crisis that have no access to food, to water, to shelter that they are providing for. They're the ones that suffer. Last year, the number of people that are currently out of reach was stated to be 1.2 million people. So imagine 1.2 million people who are caught up in the crisis, who they have no idea what their critical needs are, but by every indication are, suffering.
All right, quickly before we let you go, did you relay your concerns to these agencies that this is what the army has said?
This is not something that's new to them. The army openly tells them that they're not allowed to operate independently in the Northeast, and that it is they will only go where and how they stipulate. But again, like I said, these are completely against humanitarian principles. It makes them appear to be on the side of the military, and they target for armed operating groups, which is just bad for everyone.
All right, Anietie Ewang, we'll leave it here now. Thank you for speaking with us.